The next time you see Legs and I together, we'll be in Las Vegas watching Summer League. It's coming up here starting tomorrow, so we're going to preview what we're looking for and what we're most excited about on today's edition of the All-NBA Show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA Show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllCity. I'm your host, Aday Mara. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler, who is enjoying his offseason. How you doing, Legs?
What's up, man? I'm good. Getting ready to one more day here before we pack up tonight and head to Vegas tomorrow. When are you getting in?
I'm getting in Friday morning. So I'll be able to catch up. I know they did this thing now where they moved the first days to Thursday, and it kills me.
I don't like it. And they're starting the games too early because there's some good ones on that first day, man. But it's like you got to get in so early. It's literally like a whole extra day, like of your trip. So I'm not gonna make it there in time for the Thursday games. By the time, and my wife and my son usually travel with me to this, so by the time I get there, got to rent a car because I got to get around a little bit with the family. So by the time I get to the hotel, man, those games are going to be over that I wanted to see on Thursday, but there's some good ones the next 3 days that I'll be checking out.
There are some good ones, man, and that's what we're talking about. It's not just the games, the players. Obviously, you're just watching the players, but you want to see the matchups. And the NBA does a very good job for the Summer League of putting the matchups you want. Every year, they give you the matchups that you want to see, and that is the case this year. So we're going to be breaking them down. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We might have a show for you from out in Vegas, by the way. Probably a quick little recap of something while we're out there in Las Vegas. But let's get into it because I have wanted to talk about this one, Darryn Peterson versus Dybantsa. I've been wanting to talk about this for like 2 days since I saw Darryn Peterson's last game. He's played 2 games in Salt Lake. There's the Salt Lake Summer League, which I'm kind of surprised it's still around because the Vegas one has every team. The Salt Lake one has just a handful of teams. But they had Darryn Peterson, of course, for the Utah Jazz. And I'm telling you, Legs, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch this guy, obviously in college and different things, but I was very high on him coming in. He was my #1 player, on the board. Through 2 Summer League games, I realized I was way too low on him. I think this guy is unbelievable. I know it's just Summer League. It doesn't matter. It's not like he hits shots or he does this. He gets to his spots wherever he wants to go. His footwork is perfect. I mean, perfect, Legs. I can't wait for you to see him at Summer League because it's not a thing where it's like he has good footwork, a good base to build on. He's already perfected the footwork. So to me, he's by far my #1 player I'm most excited to watch, and I'm going to miss the Thursday night game, marquee game against Dybantsa.
I don't know if I'm going to take it as far as you. I'm obviously excited about seeing him, and the potential is there, man. And maybe this guy ends up being like a superstar NBA player. I think you and not just you, but I think there's this momentum out there right now of voices that are so blown away by what they've seen in a couple of games in the Salt Lake Summer League. It's like, all right.
Well, to be fair, it's what I saw in college, and then in Summer League, it's like the exact same thing. You go up a level and nothing changes. So
you do go up a level, but I mean, you also got to realize it's also, right now against a bunch of dudes, a lot of guys that won't be in the league.
Yeah.
So it's obviously let me see. I can't wait for opening night to see Darryn Peterson. But look, I am excited to see him in Vegas, and he's a special talent. He's an NBA-ready guard, man. This is what it looks like when you have this kind of talent because he goes where he wants on the floor. Like you said, you can't really contain him because he's really, really smooth. He's got a nice change of pace with his dribble, but he's one of those guys that never looks flustered even against pressure or no matter how much you try to get up into him. He's kind of just very aware of where he wants to go, and he makes it look really simple and very easy. Guys like that make it look that effortless, typically they translate to having great NBA careers. So I'm excited to see him out in Vegas as well, but maybe not quite as excited as you are.
I can't wait for us to, maybe we'll record a quick video on Sunday night or something, and you'll be as excited as me. That's my prediction. You will get here. Because here's the thing. There's some skill sets that I think can be taught and some that can't. And I'm curious what you think about footwork because I think footwork can be taught. It'll look different. Some guys have better body control and it'll just look smoother or what have you. But his footwork is so polished that I have no idea how he got here so quickly at this age. It's not like he has, a lot of guys have 2 or 3 moves, they're really good at, and they have the body control to become great at footwork. The variety of things he's able to do with crafty footwork to me is what just, I don't understand. I don't understand how he got to this point so quickly. And when you watch him in these games, he put up 28 points the other night against Cedric Coward. That's a good defender with NBA experience. He's a good player. That's a guy that knows what he's doing. And it wasn't just that he I got him with a crossover or whatever. Nothing Coward did to him affected him. He plays at his own pace, but I think he plays at that pace because his footwork is so polished. And that's why I'm so excited. The moves, the complexity to the footwork that he puts together against even NBA caliber defenders is unbelievable. But do you agree that footwork can be taught? And if a guy has that far advanced, it means he's in the gym a lot.
Yeah, footwork can be taught. So my feeling on it is it can be taught and you can improve it. There's no guarantee, no matter how much work you put into it, that it's going to turn into something that really kind of changes the trajectory of your career as a player. There's no guarantee. But if you have it this good, this young, it absolutely is a guarantee that it's going to affect the trajectory of your career and ultimately your ceiling and your upside, because you're going to run into elite level athletes every night, multiple ones that are trying to guard you, guys that are bigger than you, bigger and longer than anybody you've played against before, and more guys of that physical profile on these rosters. So the fact that you're already this advanced with your footwork, it means that you've got counters to great defense. And that is what takes guys. I'll give you an example of a guy who didn't have it when he got to the NBA and added it over the first 3 or 4 years of his career. And it was Jason Tatum. And I use him as an example all the time. He didn't have a counter when he first got into the league, his first couple of years. He could get into his step back shot, but he couldn't, if you cut that off, or if he tried to make a move on you with a dribble move and you cut it off, he didn't have plan B. Now I can go to another dribble move to answer what you just did defensively. He developed that later, and as a result, he became an all-league player. He became a guy that's an MVP candidate, became a guy that's on a team that won a title, because now he's got an answer to great defense, where now there's no real limit on what he can do on a given night. You can't make him play to his weaknesses because he addressed them. And I think for Peterson to be this advanced means that he is guaranteed to have that sort of offensive success really quickly at the NBA level. A lot of it's going to be health, and a lot of it's going to be who he's playing with and whatnot, but it's very difficult to have it this young. You can add it later, but to see a guy this young before he's played an actual game in the NBA, to look this smooth and crafty and clever with the basketball, and really little wasted motion. That's what I love about him. It's super efficient. He's not just playing with the basketball. What he does to change directions and the different dribble moves that he utilizes, they're for a purpose. They're for a purpose to create space, to get by a guy, to go, draw a second guy and make a play for somebody. It's not just out there playing with the ball for show. So the footwork and the handle, I think, is more advanced than I realized.
Well, I love that what you're talking about is applying. It's applied skill. So you can develop a skill, but how does it translate into the games? For some players, they can perfect footwork, but it never translates to the game for whatever reason. And I see this a lot with my daughter and her younger age, that there's girls that are great at ball handling and drills, and you do things that's all right, you perfected that, but never use it in a game. And some girls who are sloppy with it, but they always do it in a game and they're effective with it. And you think I don't know what it is, but there is an application of the skill that is a different thing to hone. And that's just what he has. He applies his skill so perfectly. No matter what you're throwing at him, he knows the footwork to get around it. And that's what I like. But here's the other thing I like, Legs. He talked about at the draft how he was picked second and it rubs him the wrong way. And he said something to the effect of, I've played against Dybantsa 6 times in my career and I've always beat him. I've always had big games and now I'm going second. He has a chip on his shoulder about it. But we've seen that before. Players, I know all the players picked above me. But after he played against Boozer in the Summer League, he had this quote. He said, Cam Boozer was the pick after me. So I know he probably has an agenda today and I couldn't let that ride. A lot of guys look up who was above me. I'm going after him. I love that he's doing that and looking down and saying, I'm letting that guy know I was picked ahead of him for a reason. And then he goes out and puts on that performance. I just think this guy has a mentality that I kind of love. He's a little awkward. He seems like an introvert, but when he does talk and I listen to him, I go, man, that guy is like just motivated by everything.
No, I love it too. I love that not running from it because it is there. And I love that, you talk about it, you address it. It's a motivating factor that you actually openly discuss. That most guys don't do that. And so the fact that he's done it and now he's got to go back it up. He had the same feeling about Dybantsa. Like, I wasn't one.
Yeah.
Like that's going to bother him. And so there's this, people were talking about like even when they were asked about each other, neither guy seemed to really like the other one. Now, maybe they do, man. Maybe they're cool with each other. I don't know. The problem I have is with this situation. I shouldn't say problem. I'm disappointed for this reason. One, they don't play the same position.
Yeah.
Like him and Dybantsa, when they do play, like it's not that mano a mano type thing, man. Like
a little bit it is, but yeah, it's
a little bit. But when it's two guys that play the same spot, whether it's two bigs, which we're going to get in Vegas when you get the Boozer and the Caleb Wilson matchup, like that's going to be really fun because that was the debate, 3-4, which guy's better. So if Dybantsa was a point guard, it would be more fun. And the other thing is, I mean, look, it's Utah and Washington. Like they're going to play twice a year, and there's not going to be There's not going to be a ton of interest in those games. Not yet. Now both of them are more exciting than they were clearly. With Trae Young and Anthony Davis in Washington, and you got Utah finally like with a mandate for Will Hardy, like go win, man, go win. We're not trying to lose any more games. We got a lot of young talent. Let's go out there and see if we can make it win. They've acquired some vets, so now like they're both trending in the right direction, but it's Washington, Utah. There's not a lot of hype around that when they get together in the regular season, and it's only going to be 2 times, and they don't play the same position. So as much as they might feel that between the two of them, because Peterson flat out said it, like I should have been the number 1 pick.
Totally. Not afraid to say it. And that's what I love.
To put that out there, man, you're really like laying down the gauntlet.
Yep.
So when they match up, it's going to be fun, and they're going to get their first opportunity to do that in Summer League in Vegas.
I can't wait for it. And I feel like there's almost a weird pressure on Dybantsa just because Peterson was able to go and play already. And he has this momentum, to your point, because he scored, I think, 25 plus in both of the games he's played. There's a weird momentum. And so I feel like there's almost pressure on Dybantsa. He can't have a bad game. First Summer League game, Thursday night, it feels like the lowest stakes. But I actually feel like there's a little bit of stakes for him to go out there and say, hey, man, there's a reason I was the number 1 pick. So I know these things are silly legs. I'm not trying to make them a big deal. We'll forget about this game probably in a month. But right now, in the moment, I do feel like it's a great little measuring stick for both of these players to see on a moment where everyone's paying attention. How do you perform?
Yeah, no, there is something there. And for people that I'm sure have watched it on TV, that are watching the show right now or follow our show, you've watched it on TV. You and I can both attest to the fact that like what this has become for Summer League basketball, it's really incredible to think what this has turned into. Everybody in the NBA universe, right, is there in one place. It's the only time all year. You don't even get, I don't think, as many people at All-Star Weekend as you get at Vegas Summer League. Everybody is there, so there is a little something to it. And these are to get the 1 and 2 pick. They're going to go head to head right out of the gate. And here's the thing we both know also, you got to see these games early, because you never know how quickly a guy will get shut down.
Totally.
Like last year, I was lucky.
2 games usually.
I called Cooper Flagg's first 2 games. If it had only been 1 game, remember Cooper Flagg really struggled his first game. And there's every chance in the world they shut him down after that. It happens all the time now. They give guys 1 game. Yeah. They gave him a second game. And Cooper Flagg had like 31 points in that game. And he was sensational. And then they shut him down, but he gave everybody kind of like a taste. And I think part of it was probably Cooper Flagg probably told them, oh, hell no. You're not shutting me down after that. Like, I got to go out there and show who I am.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that was part of it. And they listened to him and they let him go. So you never know, man. These guys are going to play 1 game. Most of them no more than 2.
Yep.
And then they get shut down. So if you're going to check these out, you better watch them really Thursday, Friday, maybe first half of Saturday. By that time, you'll probably get to all of the top 15 picks.
Yeah. And by the way, Victor Wembanyama too, if you recall his first summer league game, it was kind of a disaster in the way, because at that time, people weren't really sure what to expect of this guy. You've only seen workout video footage and stuff. In his first game, he looked a little soft. He looked a little discombobulated. And I just remember the takes went wild. And of course, we know what Victor Wembanyama became very, very quickly, but it is interesting to see how people handle that first game. Lastly, I know we're spending a lot of time on Darryn Peterson, but he's worth it, man. I'm just so excited. The Utah Jazz are so fascinating to me because I think that Ace Bailey's very good. I think Keontae George is very good. But I don't think any of those guys were the guy that if I'm Utah, I know what my cornerstone is going forward. I think those guys are really good. But who is going to be the number one guy? Darryn Peterson, to me, is the number one guy. I would bet a lot on it that is their cornerstone number one guy. But he's the third one in. And I think it's always weird when your best player is the last one added because Keontae George's contract will be up first, Bailey's will be up before him, and then Darryn Peterson. But in my opinion, I think this is headed to a route where Utah has to start setting the table for that's our cornerstone piece, and everything's built around him. And I can just foresee that being difficult. For you, because you give max contracts to Bailey and Keontae George. You can't do that because you have to prepare for Darryn Peterson. So I think it's awesome they have three young talents, but do you see that as something that Utah is going to be a little uncomfortable here going forward, saying our best guy is our youngest guy?
It's a good one, man. You make a great point. When maybe the best one of all is the third one in, and you've got to make these extension decisions on other players when this might be the guy. Yeah, those are some tough decisions. Now, what they hope is they all hit. Like, first of all, the improvement that Keontae George made. Now, he's still got some issues with his shot selection at times, his decision-making. But they were very frustrated with him his first year because they just weren't sure, is this guy going to get it? He is a big-time talent. Ace Bailey, another guy, man, he started to really show you last year because of that length and his ability to score off the dribble. That's a special quality in this league. And that puts you in a different category as a scorer. And obviously we all think Peterson's going to hit as well, maybe hit bigger than any. You might have that perimeter talent locked down. So I don't think it's a problem for them, but it is difficult in terms of the decision and the timing when it comes to money and how much you're going to pay these guys. If you know that you've still got to take care of Peterson whenever he gets to year 4, and you got to, it might affect the decisions that they're going to make on Keontae George and Ace Bailey going forward. That's very true.
They're probably having conversations right now about if we had to pick just 2 out of the 3 guys to give big contracts to, who is it? And those conversations will go on from now until the moment they have to make those decisions. But it is, to me, it is just an uncomfortable thing. But you know what? That's a great problem to have. The Utah Jazz, to me, it's early. We might do this, at the start of next season, but they are going to be in my top 5 league pass teams. I am that in on Darryn Peterson, and they just have a lot of great players, other great players.
Man, I'm going to tell you something. This is year 3 for us finishing up.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you this excited about a player since Isaiah Hartenstein back in year 1. I'm just going to be honest with you right now. This is taking on. This is like your enthusiasm and adrenaline.
I know. I was excited.
I'm going to remember this show, man. And when we get to like late October, we're ready for opening night.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a Hartenstein caliber player, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Will he develop the release of the dove shot like Hartenstein? That's the question for Peterson. If he can master that, forget it. We need a new league for this guy.
That's so good, man. All right, let's take a quick break here, though. On the other side, there's a bunch of other – I just wanted to spend a lot of time on him because I was so excited. But there's a bunch of other players and matchups that are exciting, including Acuff and Wagler, Boozer and Wilson. We're going to talk about those on the other side. When you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? How about now? Are you thinking about starting your own business or side hustle? Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify even powers the All City merch store. It's got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email, social media marketing, and more. And they've got AI tools that are designed to help you maximize sales. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. It's also summer season. We're headed to Vegas. You know one thing I am packing? My Shady Rays, of course, because if I lose them in Vegas, I don't have to worry about getting replacements. We all know that moment when you left them behind on vacation, maybe in Vegas. Maybe somebody listening to the show has lost sunglasses in Vegas. Luckily, they're Shady Rays. They've changed the game. They're sunglasses that are made for real life. They're good-looking, polarized, durable, not stupidly expensive, and they have a huge selection, literally hundreds of different types of sunglasses to pick from. But the wild part is if you lose or break them even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trips, just replacements, so you can wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on a boat, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. Go to shadyrays.com and use this code, ALLCITY, all one word, ALLCITY, for 50% off. 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. All right, back here on the All-NBA show, me and Tim Legler. Last show before we head to Vegas, and we're talking about players we're excited to see. And you've already alluded to it. Friday night, we're getting the other marquee matchup of top 4 picks, and that is Boozer versus Wilson, Caleb Wilson and Boozer. Of course, that's Chicago and the Memphis Grizzlies. Boozer, man, he also, by the way, he played against Peterson. That was a matchup in the game I'm talking about, and he also played great. It's just a quieter great. You know, he was great doing things and just doing a little bit of everything. His three-point shot looked great. But Caleb Wilson, to me, is the mystery box of the top 4 because in workouts, he looks incredible. And this matchup, I think, is actually his stock might have the best ability to rise of the top 4 guys in this first game. And so I'm actually excited to see how he approaches that game and what he looks like. So what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, we've already gotten a taste of Boozer so far, and this guy can really play, man. He's just such a skilled, polished player, very mature. So, you know, not a finished product by any means, but certainly so advanced in his ability to do a number of different things offensively on the floor, his rebounding. Caleb Wilson is the guy I'm looking at, and I go, this might be the showstopper in Vegas. This might be the guy that is going to lead the highlights when they're showing him on SportsCenter later that night from the day. Like, I think he's going to have 2 or 3 of those moments a game because of what this guy can do in the open floor, and even as a slasher, what this guy can do in his finishing ability, the way he gets off the floor, and the power that he finishes with, just spectacular. So I don't know if he'll have, the stat lines that Boozer's going to have, or even in this head-to-head matchups. Boozer's just, I think it comes a little bit easier for him, the ways that he can affect the game offensively. Caleb Wilson has things to add to his game as he goes forward. I think he can, based on everything I've heard about the guy and how badly he wants to be great. What great character he's got, the work ethic, all of that. But right now, it's going to be about the eye-popping moments. And every summer league gives you that guy that has them, and I think it's going to be Caleb Wilson. So no matter what the stat lines look like or whose team wins, I think Caleb Wilson might be the guy that leads the highlight reel later that night because he's that explosive in the open floor. I don't think there's anybody there that can do the things he can do at his size in the open floor with his finishing ability and where he takes off from. And really, you got to kind of beware defensively that you don't end up on some clip that gets played ad nauseum, for a long time. So I think you got to make some decisions when he's coming at you with a head of steam in the open floor, whether you want to try to take that on because of where he takes off from.
And I think that game will actually have a more rowdy crowd than the Peterson Dybantsa one because that one's Thursday. This one is Friday night at 6:00. That's the sweet spot. That's the game everyone will attend, and it'll be packed. So I'm also just excited for that to see. It's weirdly, I know this sounds so silly. We're not just hyping it up. There is a pressure to Summer League because it's such a small sample size. You only get 1 or 2 games to make an impression. Marquee game Friday night. Everyone's going to be there on the main stage. And so I'm also looking forward to that. I do think that Caleb Wilson is more intriguing than Boozer just because I think I know what we're going to get from Boozer. I think he's going to have a good game. He's going to be solid and do a lot of stuff. It's going to be about Caleb Wilson kind of giving some hope. And by the way, they have other players that are interesting on their Summer League roster for Chicago. So that one I'm locked into. How about Acuff versus Wagler, which we also get here really early on? I think that one is also Thursday. This is another one of top guard picks. This one is the night game on Thursday after the marquee one, Kings versus Clippers. I'm excited for this one as well.
It's a little bit different though because it's going to be Acuff's show. He's going to have the ball, and the guys that are kind of in this position when you're a combo guard or a point guard, and you're a high pick, top 7 pick, whatever, and you get to go to summer league, it's your show.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the star. Everybody in that locker room that you're playing with is going to look up to you. You're the guy that they chose, and you also play that position where you've got the ball the whole time. So he has an advantage. Wagler is going to be a little bit more off the ball. He could get hot and put on a show, and we've seen guys do it. You know, he could have like a Kyle Kuzma type performance when he broke out in summer league years ago and just lit it up. He can do that, but he's not going to have, I don't think, as many opportunities with the ball in his hands. So that's one I think you got to give the advantage to Acuff.
Yeah, and Acuff had an interesting summer league so far. He also was doing the Salt Lake thing, and he had a couple games where it was just a lot of shots, man. I can't remember what the number was, but it was a lot of shots, almost a shot per minute, I believe, and didn't shoot particularly well. So maybe that's, a good thing for him for Vegas, is he got that out of the way, the rhythm and everything else. But I do think he's going to be a guy that if he has a big game, the crowd's going to be very into it, and that's always fun. I'm also excited, just going through the last ones here. We do get Cameron Carr with the Lakers versus Oklahoma City. You get Aday Mara, Ben Sturtz. That's a game there you get three lottery picks all playing, or top 20 picks all playing. And so I'm excited for that one as well. And Cameron Carr, we both think that his shot looks incredible. He shot it well in his early Summer League games. And we also know that most fans that are there at Summer League are Lakers fans, because LA is only 3 hours away. And so that will be, I think, another big environment game. And so I'm excited for that one.
And he is a guy also that can be on those highlight reels because, yeah, he's got one of the best, just from a mechanics standpoint, one of the best deep shooting strokes in this entire draft. And I said it on draft night when I was doing the coverage. I've said it since. I was surprised where he fell. I think that he's kind of like my sleeper late first round pick to watch this year for impact and production, because I think he fits so well with Luka. And he's not just a guy that can shoot it. He is a freak athlete. Like his baseline lob threat or coming out of that corner when Luka gets down the lane and then that corner defender kind of turns and looks and loses sight. Carr's not just going to stand out there and wait all the time. Sometimes he's going to do some Derrick Jones type slashing to the rim, or you can throw it anywhere and he can go get it. So he's another candidate. Again, you're right, because it's clearly always a predominantly Lakers crowd. Yeah. When they play in Vegas, it feels like a Laker home game. So anything he does along those lines is going to generate a lot of buzz. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Cameron Carr as well.
Were you at Summer League, the Lonzo Ball year?
Yes.
I mean, that I'll never forget. That to me was the ultimate. That was the number one, because I've been for 10 years. It'll be my 11th Summer League attending. So I've been for all these big moments. The Lonzo Ball year was by far the loudest and most just like excited Summer League has ever felt to me. And was it him versus Fultz, I think, was like the marquee game. I believe that was the one. And it was just like, I remember the crowd going nuts. And you couldn't even get into Thomas and Mack because it was so crowded and so wild.
He had a game that I hadn't gone for years. I was never really doing a whole lot work-wise for Summer League, so I just decided to take that time for personal time and not go. I went that year, and I think it was my first year in a really long time going, and I was kind of like, wait a second, this is what Summer League looks like? Because it felt – the place was packed.
Yeah.
Packed for the Lakers. I don't remember. I thought, did they win it? I think they won it, right?
I think they did that year, because they also had a Caruso, I believe, on the team. And of course, nobody knew at the time what he was going to become, but he was a great player as well.
And Lonzo Ball had like a 36, 11, and 8 game, and he was like, and he has some flash to his game. Like he had some flair to his game. So it was also like fun. You're like, man, and look, he's done some things in the league, but I don't think he lived up quite to the hype and expectation coming out of that Summer League with the way he played in the show he was putting on in the process.
Yeah. I still love Lonzo. It's just the knee. It was just the knee injury, man. Other than that, he would have been Magic Johnson. Yaxel Lendeborg, Morez Johnson, the Michigan guys. I'm excited to watch both of those guys. They don't necessarily have a marquee matchup right out of the gate. Morez Johnson, though, in particular, because you do have, even though he's not coaching the Summer League team, you do have a new coach in town, and it happens to be Morez Johnson as a college coach. But I am excited just to see. That was a big pick. It was a surprise pick. And I'm curious to see what Dallas saw in him and how they want to use him in the Summer League. Are they trying to highlight his skill? He's more of a connecting piece, but are they trying to highlight and allow him to explore his game? So I find him interesting. And then Yaxel Lendeborg, I just think is a good player, older, and I think he's a type of player that should be very good in summer league and make a strong impression. So either of those two guys.
Yeah, I love them both. And I think you're right about Morez Johnson. He was the first guy that night that made a significant jump up from like what everybody was kind of viewing as his range in the draft. And then, everybody immediately connects it to the fact that Dusty May got the job. And, and we said, hey, mate, this might make one of those guys come into play. They had 3 bigs. They need a big. Are they going to take one of those guys? But it was going to mean moving up quite a bit from where you were projected. And Morez Johnson was that guy. So I'm very excited to see what he looks like. And I just absolutely love Lendeborg. And I think the Warriors couldn't have gotten a better player at that pick. I think he's going to crack their rotation immediately. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes for them.
Kind of has to.
Extremely versatile. If he and I think his shooting is something that's got to come along, but he does so many things on the court to help you, and they need bigger wings. They've been undersized on the wings for years in Golden State, and some nights it just is so blatant. It's just not enough. The guys they're running out there at those wing positions, sometimes you need more than grit, man, and toughness and smarts and IQ. You got to be big in this league to get some things done, and Lendeborg checks that box, and they desperately need it. And they need him to hit, and they need him to play because they don't have a lot of depth. So I think Lendeborg's a really exciting, interesting player for me, and probably I would put him outside of those top 4 or 5 players. I think I'm as excited to see Cameron Carr and Lendeborg are the 2 guys probably the rest of the draft. And maybe Aday Mara would be another guy that I'm most excited to see in Summer League for the first time in person.
Well, Yaxel was, I think, my 5th favorite player in this draft. So I don't get that into the draft. So if that's a crazy take, so be it. But he was a guy that just when I watched, I was very excited for. So he is another one I'm excited. Here's one I'll tell you, though, that's interesting. Ebuka Okorie with the Pistons is going to be interesting because quick guards dominate Summer League. One of the things that you always forget about Summer League, and when you get there, you start watching, you remember, guys that get the ball in their hands can be very selfish in Summer League because it's not like you have a complex offense. Guys don't know each other that well, and everyone's trying to make a name for themselves. So if you have a guard who's on ball, they tend to excel at Summer League. Well, he is supposed to do that, so that's great. And more importantly, you look at the Pistons offseason, they've checked some boxes, shooting. They've lost some things, but they still need a creator. And maybe they make that via trade. This represents a draft version of, could he be that? Could he be a guy that just gets into the paint and creates opportunities? If he is that guy, it should shine in Summer League. Summer League is a time that you should be able to get around the first line of defense pretty much at will. And so he's a guy that I think is weirdly important for Summer League, and I'll have my eye on him.
He is like point A to point B with the ball in his hands as quick as anybody in this draft. And they desperately needed another playmaker at the guard position. So he's going to have an opportunity there. And they've improved their team. They've made some nice additions there, and they addressed some needs. And I think this could be another one. As a guy that I think, look, he's kind of slightly built. So we'll see how that translates, particularly once you get deeper into the season, get into the playoffs, as we saw this year. Like, you got to play through a lot when you get to the playoffs as a guard in this league. And he's kind of slightly built, not much to him, but man, is he jet quick. So the question is going to be, is the quickness enough to offset the size? And first look is, yeah, maybe he's got a chance to do that, but you're not going to know until you see him against NBA caliber defenders with that kind of length and guys that can move laterally. A little bit tougher to shake those guys. He can leave guys in college in his rearview mirror, no problem. It's harder to do that at the NBA level, even in Summer League. You're going to have some guys that have NBA experience. You're going to have high draft picks. They're lottery picks. You're also going to have some guys that are just bigger coming from Europe or wherever that are trying to make more money in Europe or somehow open the eyes of an NBA team. Competition level is just different. So I'm curious to see how that quickness translates in a more physical game.
Trying to see if he has any marquee matchups, and I don't know that he does. The Pistons, Cavs, no, I don't know if he has a marquee matchup. So we'll probably just get nothing crazy, but just get a chance to see him. The last thing
I can tell you one more guy I want to mention is LeBaron Philon from Philly.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. They actually do play each other, so there's that.
Because I just got a taste of this because I do Philadelphia, podcast, and I do sports talk radio sometimes, and I have a lot of friends that like the Sixers, and they've gone from basically mocking the team for several years to, I mean, they've already put their chairs out on Broad Street waiting for the parade next June. And that's only going to amplify if Phylon goes off at Summer League.
So
they already feel that way, picking up Jaylen Brown, unloading Paul George. They're looking at Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Embiid, and going, man. And they still think they're going to get LeBron James potentially. So imagine if Phylon goes out there and he's like one of the stories of Summer League, because he's really talented. He's a guy, because he's going to have the ball a lot, capable, man. He could have a 30-point game or something right off the bat. And then all of these people in Philly that love the Sixers are going to be impossible to deal with, because they already think this is it. It's over. Their time is now. They just saw the Knicks do it after 53 years. They've only got a 43-year wait, so really, not as long in comparison. They think it's over. It's a wrap now that they have Jaylen Brown, and Phylon would just add to that if he goes off.
Well, they kind of need him, because the thing they don't have is depth. And so if they can get a guy to become a guy that they can count on, they need him and maybe 2 or 3 other players just to survive the regular season with or without LeBron. So I think that it'll be big for them. Some second-year guys that I'm interested in. Mo Diawara from the Knicks had himself a good little stretch in the middle of the season. Jace Richardson in Orlando. Young Hansen. Remember the big deal Young Hansen was last year at Summer League? Didn't really play this year. Colin Murray-Boyles is playing for some reason. There's always one player who shouldn't be playing in Summer League. What does he have to prove, Legs? I don't get why he's playing. That guy's already an elite player.
Some guys just want to show up, and some guys just want to show up and play, man. And you don't know why. There's other guys last year that didn't. Kyle Filipowski didn't have to play last year, and he did, and he came in there, and you always get a few guys. You're just the team isn't going to say no, because it's not like there's that accomplished that they're terrified of an injury, but they don't have to play.
Yeah. And
so Colin Murray-Boyles would be a guy. I had him on my all-rookie team. So, he's a guy that doesn't need to be out there, and it'll be interesting to watch him, because he's really, really physical. I mean, he might have some monster, depending on how much he plays. He might just play one game.
Probably.
Maybe he just wanted the team to get him a room in Vegas, man. He just, he can hang out for a few days and just go get one game in, and then he's kind of on his own. I bet you don't see him more than one game. But Diawara is an interesting one, because at one point in the middle of the season, Diawara was firmly entrenched in their rotation.
Yep.
And he was making shots, and he was to become a crowd favorite. And I called a couple of Knicks games at that time. And of course, my partner Mike Breen is a Knicks broadcaster, so he was seeing him a lot more than I was. And he was saying, and then he got to the playoffs or later in the season, and he just basically was completely taken out of rotation. I guess, Mike Brown made the right decision. They just won a title. But I'm not going to forget what I was watching mid-season.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting player, because he's big, he can shoot it, and he's physical. So, yeah, he's a good one. And Young Hansen was an interesting one, because he was one of the stories of Vegas.
He really was.
And he wasn't like he was putting crazy stat lines, but he's really entertaining. His passing ability for a guy that big at the top of the key, and dribble handoff game. And of course, he was in Portland, so it's automatically they're talking about Walton's passing ability back in the day, and this guy, right? And all this, and also there was he became this huge crowd favorite. They were sticking around for long periods of time after the games just to get a look at the guy and have a chance to shout at him as he left the floor. So yes, and then he basically had he just didn't even have a rookie year. He barely played, had no impact. Let's see where he's at in year 2.
A random name, it's the last one I have for you that's interesting, is Joan Behringer with Minnesota. And he's interesting because he's both, this second-year guy, going to play Summer League again, makes sense. But also, the Wolves kind of need him. They lost their front court depth. He's probably firmly in the rotation and needs to be a player, not a net negative. And so I'm curious to see. I don't know how he's going to look in Summer League, but I think he's going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'11", he's mobile. So, I mean, guys like that can really stand out in Summer League. There's not a ton of dudes that size in Summer League. It's guys a lot of times. You see a lot of 6'10" and under, 6'9" and under. He's going to be one of the longer guys there. So, and he's got and they really like him. So it'll be an opportunity for him to go out there and showcase, man. And maybe he has a couple games with monster rebounding and block numbers.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll cue that outro music there, Atticus. I'm telling you, Legs, I'm going to get a text from you. I think maybe Friday morning, It's going to be like, man, you weren't wrong about Darryn Peterson, man. What a call. Great call, Adam.
Well, look, we're going to be in Vegas, so don't expect that early in the morning.
That's true.
You might get that closer to lunchtime.
Yeah, 100%, man. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Like I said, we'll be in Vegas. Can't wait. Can't wait for it. If you're out there, holler at us. If you see us at Thomas and Mack, let us know you're enjoying the show. We always appreciate that. And everybody enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be talking Summer League when we see you next.
We all silly like the mayor.